I like Tight Shirt as a commentator. However, I would prefer. I liked him better in our dynamic trio in the pregame and postgame and halftime show.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot better there. You had three commentators who basically, and analysts who had their own opinion on the matter. Whereas now he's being asked to be more of a color commentator because I'm sure Ian Darke's going to be more of the play-by-play.
right.
I don't disapprove of this. I was always questioning some of the famous sayings by Harkes.
Yeah.
And I was wondering when it was going to change.
Yeah.
And Twellman's going to be a decent option, to tell you the truth.
I think, you only have so long in that position. Ronaldo was there before Harkes, and of course, Ronaldo lost his job because he threatened to kick somebody's ass.
It was higher up on the ESPN totem pole.
Yeah, exactly. ESPN versus ESPN, and they didn't like that, obviously. In this case, I think people are just kind of, they've had enough Harkes. It's been, a number of years now, and they're just ready for something different. And Tight Shirt Twellman does bring kind of that that zest. He's kind of got a big mouth, and I don't think it'll be too long, and I may be wrong on this, until something comes out of Twellman's mouth that, maybe, we didn't expect to hear. But I agree with you. I liked Redhead, Maka, and Tight Shirt together in that after-game show. It was entertaining. And I guess Redhead's staying on. But bye-bye Harkes. So if you haven't, how about Bruce Arena? I mean, does Bruce Arena get a pat on the back for this? Does anybody think, well, Bruce really is the best American coach, soccer manager that ever was and ever will be. I don't know how you feel about that. I think he certainly should be up there and mentioned in that company. I think he's proven it.
Oh yeah, I mean he's definitely had success in MLS. He knows exactly what creates a championship team, what type of players you need on the field, what type of players you need to complement other players. Similar to you have the Donovans, you have the Keane, you have the Beckham, but who do you have to complement them?
Right.
You have Juninho, you have McGee. So you have McGee is not so much. He does all the dirty work that helps out a team, and that's why. And they mentioned it in the commentary.
Yeah.
But that's why Bruce brought McGee over to LA.
Yeah.
Because he does exactly what the team needs.
Right.
And Bruce has his success. Like I said, in MLS, he had it in the national team. He's definitely up there as one of the top U.S. Coaches.
Yeah, I'd have to say so. You can get into all kinds of debates about whether it's Bob Bradley or Bruce Arena or the new kid on the block, Jason Kreis, or there are other names in that discussion, but only this name.
It's early for Kreis.
It's too early for Kreis. He has not coached the national team yet. I think that has to go up there on your resume to be considered. I think personally, you have to coach the national team to be considered as one of the best managers. But that's a whole other conversation. Dominic Kinnear did all that he could. Couldn't expect any more from him in the situation that was given to him, handed to him, unfortunately, with Davis's injury. But let's get to that Don Garber halftime interview. And
a lot of stuff between the lines.
Yeah, there was. The first thing being that the highest seed, i.e. the Shield winner, right?
Well, not necessarily.
That's because they're switching to
loses.
Yeah. Well,
whoever has the highest seed, say in a single table format, if you're looking at the table, whoever has the highest seed gets the home field advantage in the finals.
In the finals.
Yeah.
Right.
In this situation, it happened to be the Supporter Shield winners, but they had it regardless.
So there's no more silly tournaments with Colorado versus some non-Canadian team in Toronto. In November, as an MLS final home base. There aren't going to be any more home bases. The highest seed will win the home field. I think that makes sense to me.
It does. It gives them a little bit of an edge.
And then, go ahead.
You have an entire season, and they put in the team that has a higher seed typically will put in the effort, and that's going to be a team that has a overall better record. Obviously, you're going to have the overall better record, but you're not going to have like a a 9th and a 10th seed playing each other most likely.
Yeah.
Or at all, possibly.
Yeah.
So.
And then, not so subtly, the Don said that MLS doesn't really need David Beckham. He didn't say it like that, but that's what he said, right? He said, well, we don't need guys like David Beckham anymore. The MLS is, we're strong. We can stand on our own 2 feet. Thanks for coming, David, but, we really don't need you. And does that tell you, Brett, that Beckham probably not coming back?
Yeah, they asked the question, is David Beckham coming back? And he led off with saying, I'd like to think this point is strong enough to where we don't need a player like David Beckham. Then he goes on to talking about how he would like to keep David. Obviously, he'd like them to re-sign and stuff. But that really does seem to be more of a hint that, he's probably not returning.
Because Don likes to hint. Mm-hmm. And when Don hints, it's really not a hint. It's actually what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So then Don went on to hint that New York 2, second New York team, you might as well write that down in permanent marker because that's happening.
It's happening. He's mentioned it way too many times. He's also talked pretty bluntly that MLS is going to New York, working with owners, working with the local government, working with everybody, trying to make it happen.
Right.
Trying to find that proper field location for a stadium.
Didn't mention the Cosmos though.
Not mention a specific owner at all.
No, never has.
He also talked about wanting to keep DC in DC. He came out earlier in the week, mentioned how there's not really any talk about any moving of teams.
Yeah.
So a DC, they're trying to work with the local government, but I think he's basically just stated that they're missing out on an opportunity.
Yep. That's what it sounded like to me, too. And again, when Garber, intimates or hints at something, it's usually not a hint. He's basically telling you like it is. If DC does not do A, then the following B will happen. New York will get a team, and no, it's not the New York Cosmos. If it was going to be the Cosmos, wouldn't he have mentioned or hinted at it? I really think that if it were going to be the Cosmos, we would have heard something either from the Cosmos or from Garber at this point. So, I don't know.
This seems to be more of a, putting the cart in front of the horse type scenario. They've already picked out the location, but they don't have an owner.
Yeah.
Or owners.
Yeah.
So they're like, we're going to be in New York. It just depends on who wants to pony up the cash or who's going to have the most stable organization. And it might not be the Cosmos, despite the fact that they have a pretty name and a history to back it up. Or at least just the name itself, not necessarily their history.
And a youth program.
But they might not have that. We haven't heard anything else about them in months, actually.
Right.
But
they have been quiet lately.
For it.
Yeah, they've been really quiet. I think it'll have to be somebody like David Beckham helping out his friend David Byrne and stepping up to the plate and saying, I'll be the owner of this team. I'll throw some cash at this. And
that was part of his contract too. He has the opportunity to purchase the team.
Yeah, exactly.
For team for sale, obviously, you just can't say, I'm going to buy Chicago. Here's money for it.
Yeah. Right. Well, we'll see what happens there. There's just too much speculation at this point. And then his Garber's commentary on Sepp Blatter, who, boy, Mr. Insert foot in mouth, man, here, Sepp Blabber, as we sometimes call him. And he basically just said, what? Basically, if it was my choice, I probably wouldn't have voted for Blatter.
Yeah, well, he said, Galati and USSF made the right choice, basically saying that there's a political game at hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, you sort of have to do what's being pressured upon you.
Right.
And sort of try to go around some yellow tape there at that point, but red tape or whatever.
Right. Yellow tape.
It's
a crime scene. But with Blatter, it could be.
Yeah. But then he does go on to say that if it was me, I don't know, maybe not, sort of thing. So
yeah.
Something that he doesn't agree. Something he wouldn't do if he had to choose, but he understands why, sort of.
Right.
The way I look at it, at least.
A couple other things that come out of this season: shaving cream foam for for free kicks. It's time that everybody starts using the shaving cream foam line. 10 yards back.
So it was like spray can. I thought it was just a spray paint can.
No, it's just shaving cream. That's why it goes away, right?
Yeah. They thought about it going away real quick, so yeah, maybe it is.
It's got to be shaving cream, but if it's not, let's say it's some other cleansing item or something.
It's another soccer miracle product like the Healing Air.
That's what we should start making, our own Derek and Brett's or Brett and Derek's, our own line foam. Dissolving
you gotta go
foam.
Brett and Derek because you gotta go alphabetical.
Yeah, well, no, I'm fine with that, Brett. I'm really up. We had a picture of us on the cover, or the dog might do a better job selling it.
Yeah, he does have more contacts.
He does. He has more contacts and
Bad but true.
Yeah, and people like him. People don't really say they like us. So anyhow, but the thing is, I like the shaving cream thing, and for God's sakes, will the rest of the world please use it? Because I am sick of watching. Obviously, somebody taking a free kick in the Champions League, just for instance, not long ago. I watched several of them, and by the time the guy actually kicks the ball, they're about 5 yards in front of him, of the guy taking the kick. I mean, at what point do you as a referee say, okay, come off it, guys? Could we, as soon as the wall sets up and he turns his back to blow the whistle, they start scooching up. Well, if you got a foam line, that's not happening. Now, I'm being really kind of ridiculous here, but really, seriously, I think it improves the game.
Keeps players true.
Yeah.
Nice.
More foam. And the other thing, we had a concern, of course, last episode about Beckham getting all the credit for this win. Well, I went down and I ran down some of the major papers, and so we looked at CNN. Their headline was Galaxy wins in Beckham's last game, or I'm paraphrasing. Both Bloomberg and Business Week had Beckham's LA Galaxy wins. BBC and the Daily Mail in England had Beckham wins MLS title with Galaxy. And then the only folks to really get it right, I could tell, the Guardian, surprisingly, got it right in England. And then Fox, ESPN, and the New York Post all just basically had LA Galaxy defeats Houston Dynamo in MLS Finals. Didn't mention Beckham at all, which is really probably to their SEO detriment. But I thought I'd bring those up.
The magical SEO.
Yeah, the magical SEO. If you don't, So if you can't get it to SEO, then it's not worth writing.
I was going to say, I didn't see much in your paraphrasing there.
Yeah.
That led me to my concern, really.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as I think some people thought it might be. But I know what I'm going to use for the title of this, Brett, and it's going to be David Beckham slaughters Houston Dynamo in incredible bloodbath. Moffat loses ear. Something like that. Because I think there's a lot of SEO potential there. People love reading stories where people lose body parts.
I was going to say, you can mention Cameron's knee blowing.
Oh, yeah, well, I could. Knees blow out, limbs missing. I'll make it really...
Will he recover?
Tragic, yeah. So anyhow, that is all I've got for today. What do we do with ourselves now that MLS season is over? What did we do last season when this happened?
I believe we took a bit of a vacation.
That's right.
At the beginning of the year.
We did.
Well, there's always the silly season to talk about. There's always USA Yanks abroad.
Yeah.
There's the upcoming Camp Cupcake, not to mention the February friendlies.
Right.
So there's always stuff to yammer about.
Yeah, and I think we interviewed a lot of former U.S. national team players during this time of the year last time. And that's always kind of nice because we have kind of a respite here. So maybe we'll get back to that. And then when Brett and I figure this all out, folks, we'll get back to you. But until the next time on the Straight Red Card, good night.